62, 20,
Okay,
463.
Let me see how close it is to transport.
That was about it. You tell me when you're ready and
Better to go
tell
up.
me when
Yeah.
you're ready and
I'll go up.
we'll all be ready. Morning.
Co-chair.
I came to a few of them back, last November.
Did you happen to notice on the solid waste?
Couple more minutes, they're already set up. They're getting close to being set up.
I'm around. I've just been
Once you get,
what it's like in here.
Well, and I don't even, it's honestly 5 minutes away,
Oh,
you know, so, we're all doing what we're supposed to do,
I'm
so.
40 minutes away, so I might as well just stay in.
Yeah. No, I find that very. Oh,
It's over, there's an electric car charge.
you hooked up to that one?
Yeah, I got that. Plug-in hybrid.
Okay.
It
How
only
long does that take to charge? Good, good,
about
good.
an hour and a half.
It should be the one that marks them.
It only has 66 miles range. On electric, then it switches.
All right, I'd like to call the Jobs Committee to order. It's December 11th, 10:11. Please do roll call.
Davis? Iqbal?
Present.
Kobe? Lewis?
Lewis, present.
Alina?
Molina present.
Ford? Weber?
Present. Beautiful. Can I please get a motion and a second for approval of minutes from the November 13th meeting?
Molina moves.
Iqbal moves.
Thank you very much. Can I have a roll call to approve the minutes?
Davis? Iqbal?
Yes.
Lewis?
Lewis, yes.
Alina?
Molina, yes.
Ford?
Yes.
Weber?
Yes. Thank you very much. I see Mr. Berger today. I see his handsome face on the screen here, the monitor. I don't know if you or Maria will be presenting the financials today, but you have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman Weber. Yes, Maria Gonzalez should be on the line today to walk you through our financials. Before I turn it over to her, however, I do want to pass along some information to the committee. I know that Mr. Iqbal had a question about how we call attention to job opportunities in our area. And I just wanted to let you know that we do have a job board that is posted on the county's website, and I can provide some information to anybody who's interested in finding that job board. It's available through our Workforce Development Division webpage, and I can be happy to talk about some of the requirements and the process that we go through to capture area jobs and make that information available to job seekers here in the county. But at this time, I would like to ask for Maria to present to you our battery of monthly financial reports for our workforce development initiatives.
Thank you, Scott. Good morning, everyone. Your financial report packet is a little bit thinner than in prior months, and that is due to the fact that we really are only seeing the majority of activity in our WEO 119 grant, which that grant started July 1st of 2019. We have to fully expend this grant down before we start recording expenses in the 2020 grant. As each individual funding stream is fully expended, then we'll start charging to the new grant. So that'll start happening within the next couple of months. So you'll note that on the admin fund, there's only $5,600 left. That's been fully expended. So the bulk that makes up of what we have left in the carry-in funds is a line item towards the bottom of your report that's titled COVID admin. We had to do a modification to our grant allocation because the state awarded us, not awarded us additional dollars, but allowed us to move funds within our funding streams to this line item in case we incur COVID-related expenses. So now we have that where anything that the department or some of our subrecipients are needing for COVID, we are charging the line item there. As I mentioned, we have until June 30th of this year to fully spend down this grant. And if you'll note, our training benchmark for the month of October was 53%, and the requirement is that we maintain a training percentage of 50. Another couple of benchmarks to keep in mind is our youth out. We are required to have 75% of our youth funds devoted to the youth out funding stream. And then 20% is to be dedicated to work-based learning activities for our participants. So you'll note that they are at 91% and 30% respectively. The trade grant, that ended on September 30th. We are awaiting the new executed grant agreement for the new trade grant that started October 1st. In the meantime, any expenses that are coming through for our trade participants are being funded through our WIOA grant so as to avoid any interruptions. And then lastly, there's the statewide rapid response grant. We have not received any of the reimbursement requests from the program applications that have come through. Once that starts coming through, then I'll start to provide a report for that. Any questions?
First of all, I'd like to say congratulations and thank you for getting the benchmarks, the percentages up to where we need them to be, especially with all the other things that the the department is doing in regards to the CARES Act funding. So I definitely very, very happy to see that. Is there any questions from anyone online or anyone in the room? Seeing none. Thank you very much, Maria. Scott, do you have anything else to add, Scott? Or are you good?
No, that concludes our report this time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Next up is comments by chair, co-chair. I just, thank you so much for the Scott Berger's department for processing all these applications. I know that their department has been, oh my gosh, the amount of requests that they're getting from private businesses is very overwhelming. They don't have a very large staff to process it. So just, if some communication comes to you, just be cognizant of what they are dealing with. There could be things that maybe can be moved over to next month if you have certain questions or concerns. I really want them focused on obviously, meeting our benchmarks with programs, but also making sure that money gets out to all the the businesses in the county. So those are my comments.
Good morning, everybody. I just want to say I'm just glad to be back aboard. I'm looking forward to working with everybody. It's good to see that things are still moving along. There you go. So it's good to see that things are still moving along. I really appreciate the efforts being done by staff, especially in these times of the complication that we have with the COVID. So with all that said, I'm just looking forward to still trying to make progress. Let us know what we need to help out and we'll do what we can.
Thank you, Chairman Ford. Next up, we have the Jobs Committee priorities. I know we have, I think Mark Van Kerkhoff might be online. If not, Chris Holt is present and willing to present.
Thank you. Good morning. We're both on this morning. Welcome back and welcome to new members. I'm going to have Chris Toth, who primarily works with our economic development related activities, give an update responsive to some of the requests from you, Mr. Chairman, and then I'll follow up with a update on what's going on in the region.
Thank you. You have the floor, Chris.
Thank you. Blair, could I have the slides up?
Yeah, for some reason there's no book.
Okay. They were sent to you.
Oh, those.
Yep. Thank you. And just while Blair's getting that set up, I just wanted to say hello to everyone new to the committee and welcome back those who I've worked with in the past. I've worked for the Kane County Board Jobs Committee now for almost 6 years as the staff primarily responsible for economic development. One thing I like to just put out there is I'm always available for questions or requests for information just about what we do here for economic development. One of the things that I really wanted to echo as well is Scott's team has been working really hard with these applications. I know I have received a ton of questions, and the satisfaction of the people I have assisted or sent to the CRF team has been very high. They've been very pleased and just getting the information. So I just want to make sure that they hear it from someone who's on the ground as well. But today I just wanted to run through some economic development requests that Steve had asked. Next slide, please. So I put up the table of our 2020 unemployment numbers, starting with March and then moving through the initial pandemic all the way through October. One number that's not on there is the national unemployment average, which was November, which is 6.7%. But as you can see, in October, things were starting to rebound. Just last week, the Bureau of Labor Statistics said that there was a 20% increase in applications for unemployment. So we are expecting to see much higher numbers for both local and December as they are adjusted. But one of the great things I'm very proud of, and I can say at every meeting, is that Kane County has continued to beat both the Illinois and the national average for unemployment. So that kind of leads into our next slide, which our three main industries or employers in Kane County are manufacturing, retail, and the health industry. But I tend to focus mostly and work mostly with manufacturers. So just for some data, according to the 2018 Census County Business Pattern Survey, Kane County has 784 manufacturing establishments employing over 32,000 workers with an annual payroll of near $2 billion and an average pay of close to $60,000. Next slide, please. Our top three sectors for manufacturing, which again, I love to share this, is chemicals, food, beverage, and tobacco products, and machinery. Next slide, please. Well, our top three sectors for job growth in manufacturing in 2019 were pharmaceutical and medicine manufacturing, medical equipment and supply manufacturing, and aerospace products and parts manufacturing. And I do want to get a little bit ahead of myself, but it's interesting. In 2019, we were already starting to ramp up stuff with pharmaceutical and medical equipment, and look what happened in 2020. So again, that might be part of why we were poised to do a little bit better in the manufacturing sector as compared to some other places. I don't have firm data, but looking at previous data, it's just something to think about. And I'm always interested in aerospace products and how many manufacturers we have for those in counties. When we did our export grant program, one of the companies we worked with was In-Flight Entertainment Products, and they were part of the aerospace manufacturing industry. Next slide, please. I was requested to try and get as much local data about manufacturers as possible. I reached out to our many different partners and was given some data from our team, the team over at the Valley Industrial Association in Geneva. They're a great partner, and they put out monthly services for their human resources team to try and get a firm grasp of what's going on right now with their issues with staff and employment. So today I'm just going to run through quick data for part-time versus full-time employees, exempt versus non-exempt, merit increases, and what's going on with their staff training. Next slide, please. So out of the 22 respondents that they had, 18 responded to are they currently using part-time manufacturing workers, and this surprised me a little bit, was that only 10% of them now are using part-time employees. They've moved more towards full-time. It just makes sense given the difficulties of hiring great manufacturing help prior to the pandemic and trying to find the best employees. I know there's continues to be, best way to put it is everyone's fighting for a pool of the best workers. And so the manufacturers that are successful in hiring those best workers are doing everything they can to keep them. And one of them is making them full-time and making sure that their job is secure. Next slide. But also that means that right now there's a 50-50 split on exempt versus non-exempt. I don't know the cutoff for the amount someone has to make a year. I believe a few years ago was about $36,000 a year, give or take, were the barrier for exempt versus non-exempt. But right now, employers are just splitting, they're keeping their workforces split. So next slide. Not so great news is 40% of the respondents were not planning to have a merit increase, while the next plurality would have been 2 to 3% or 3 to 5%. Again, this is just a sign of the times in the economy. People are happy to keep their jobs, especially as unemployment moves up. But for those who have earned it, we'd like to see merit increases. So next slide. This one's interesting too, just because it talks about training staff and how that's had to change. Right now, a lot of manufacturers are still using small group training sessions. I believe it's supposed to be less than 10. Some are doing no training at all, and the rest are doing online training. Manufacturers have had the difficulty of having to figure this out while all these other mover pieces are going on. And if you talk to our partners at IMEC or at IMA or at our community colleges, small business development centers, they're doing the best they can. And so we'll see probably better data for this in 2021 to react more towards the COVID, but as the year has gone on, the manufacturers have just done everything they can to train their new employees and onboard people given the changing circumstances. Next slide, please. The other information I was requested of was just talking about what's going on in Kane County to prepare our future workforce for manufacturing. And it's something I've talked about for years, and I will continue to talk about because it is important that we make sure our manufacturers stay in Kane County, they have the best employees, they have access to the best employees, and that we help foster the next generation of manufacturing employees to not only look at it as a viable career, but to support local manufacturing. So when we talk about the manufacturing programs, I did reference 2019 just because that was the year we had more hands-on programs. So we had programs offered by the Fox Valley Career Center, Northern Kane Vocational, the D300 Career Pathways programs, East Aurora's High School Welding, the dual credit courses with Wabansi, the U46 Career Pathway High School program, the West Aurora School District. All of these were up and running and had students involved at school in some way in manufacturing, whether they were getting credit while they were taking classes at school, while they were being introduced to manufacturers. There are local programs, and one of the things moving forward as things open back up is getting these partners back in to share their stories and how we can help continue to foster an environment supporting manufacturing. Next slide, please. And just to highlight, Manufacturing Day 2020, again, our manufacturers did everything they could to have some way to highlight the workforce in manufacturing. I heard Zoom meetings, I heard live streaming tours. A really popular one was just taking your cell phone, walking around the floor, doing a video and posting it on YouTube and sharing it that way. I love the guerrilla marketing, and manufacturers were just as enthusiastic. They just had a different set of circumstances to work with. So they were encouraging our students. But again, when things open back up, we want to get back to getting students in the building to see it for themselves, to touch it, to learn it, to hear from employees. And we had events like the Kane County Sheriff's Office. They do a hiring event. Theirs was virtual in 2020. They did student tour and facility presentations in Aurora and Geneva at Valley Fastener Group and Smith and Richardson. Next slide, please. And I just have a slide. This is, students on the floor wearing their safety gear, just seeing exactly how the sausage is made. Next slide. And again, it's just the rooms are always full. You hear about hundreds of kids going to these manufacturing, learning about the careers, learning about what they need to do to educate themselves, learning about potential opportunities. It's a great separate career path that I think more and more people are really starting to notice as an alternative to a four-year bachelor's degree. Our community colleges have created and continue to grow their programs that involve with manufacturing so that our local students can learn local and work local. Next slide, please.
Looks like we need more girls.
Oh, yeah, yes. Those pictures, yes, were mostly male. And I will say that, everyone is welcome in manufacturing. I would love to see programs specifically for females, and I don't know of any off the top of my head, but This is an all hands on deck situation. If you are interested in manufacturing, we will get you in that door and we will help you get a job.
Great.
And that's so, yeah, I'd love to support that. Just some other local events were Freudenberg Household Products, International Paper, Burgess Norton Manufacturing. Again, I can't speak to specific data, but just from my experience of visiting manufacturers for our programs, the minute you walk into the floor of a manufacturer and you see what they do, you see people wearing safety gears, but you see people in khakis and nice clothing working on high-tech machines. And you get this sense of, I have a lot of learning to do about manufacturing because I didn't know what's really going on. And I to this day still am learning more and more about it because there is this misconception, and I grew up in Detroit, that the manufacturing it's dark, it's dirty, it's loud, stinky machines where someone's always losing a finger and the career wears you out. And that's just not true with modern manufacturing. So again, moving forward, I'm always available to get more information and to continue to find new ways to support our local manufacturers so we can continue to grow them and keep them strong as a base here in Kane County. But with that ends my presentation, so I'll take any questions.
Chris, that was a great presentation, and thank you for digging through and compiling information and just kind of getting all the new members on the board, on the committee, up to speed. I really, really like the collaboration with the school districts. I think a lot of kids, in high school, specifically, you don't really know. A lot of kids don't really know what they want to do. So just by being present and offering up a program, at least you can start to get their mind turning as far as what is out there, and to get rid of some of the stigma of a manufacturing facility of what a lot of people think, which is obviously a lot different than what it is now. So that's fantastic. Does anybody have any questions? Go ahead, Mrs. Allen, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is in a different direction, but when you had the wonderful slide saying how the schools were participating, is it appropriate to also include, there's a very aggressive agricultural plan going on in is it Hampshire, Huntley? I'm trying to think what high school's involved, but they are building, Tom, you might know about this, right? They are building particular buildings. They bus kids to that facility who are interested in it. It's just, as I say, it's entirely different from manufacturing, but it's a big industry here, and somebody has taken that agricultural bull by its agricultural horns, and really are making it fly.
Yeah, no, I think it's very true. Yes, for this particular month, I asked Chris to focus on the manufacturing component, but no, I think that it would be interesting to see what other industries out there have programs like this. There might be a way for some some collaboration within the different agricultural manufacturing. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, and actually that perfectly aligns with, it's one of our top sectors of employment. So it's, again, just training for the local workforce. And I do want to say, I'll do more research into that because I don't know specifically which program you're referring to, but it also kind of aligns with what we're looking towards, of more moving agriculture and food and manufacturing. We're going to see more and more of that moving into the county in the future, just with the future job force. So that's definitely something I'm interested in learning more about.
And there's that whole business about how there are small farmers as well as the big farmers, and the small farmers are interested in figuring out what they can grow and what they can sell. So they're servicing restaurants. Now, you've talked about this often. So they're servicing restaurants. They are finding what I had a farmer say to me, I set aside acreage to try things. And if it's something that I can sell, I keep doing it. If I don't, I just try something else. So it's very inventive.
Sure.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, go ahead.
Just to the point that Ms. Allen was making was, I just looked up the minutes from the Ag Committee, which I was on. It's the Hinckley Big Rock Future Farmers of America. Representative Nan Long gave us an excellent report on the building that at Hinckley Big Rock High School that they built just for agricultural students, and they have a greenhouse, space plants. They do a big plant sale. They're working on, it's a 50 by 80 foot building, and they're working with the students out there. They have 3-phase plans. It's a very elaborate, all volunteer work that they've done, and they're very excited about it. So that's Hinckley Big Rock High School. Nan Long is the FFA America representative.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Mr. Caius, for fleshing that out. Appreciate it.
Any more questions or comments in regards to the presentation? All righty. Thank you very much, Chris.
Thank you.
All righty. We do not have any new business for today. Is there any public comment?
Mr. Chairman, I had a few updates.
Okay, I'm sorry, Mark, go ahead.
No problem. And a great segue on the question about agriculture. So we're thankful that the county board has a committee dedicated to agriculture. There have been really good reports on what our local growers are doing. They meet next week, and there's some exciting things on the agenda with our Growing for Kane program. We've got a grant that's just going out in a survey to our local growers for assistance for adjustments they've had to make due to COVID, and demands on their products certainly have been high. And the other high school that has invested in agricultural careers is Burlington Central High School. And the Ag Committee and our team is also working with them and connecting them with a new agricultural degree program at McHenry Community College. So lots of exciting things happening there. Specifically, I wanted to give you an update on what's happening in the region. Many of you know over the last 6 years, Kane County has been involved in a 7-county effort known as the Chicago Regional Growth Corporation for promoting regional growth and cooperation. That organization is on pause. It's temporarily stepping aside for a larger, more comprehensive effort in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, known as the Regional Recovery Task Force, which is being headed up by CMAP and Choose Chicago. Like the Chicago Regional Growth Corporation, it's being sponsored and headed up in leadership by the county board chairs in the city of Chicago. It's going to have a policy committee, and then there's 3 working groups broadly looking at the issues for our recovery, economic development, of which I'm a part of. One specifically for workforce issues regionally, and the other one looking at tourism. Obviously, tourism has dropped off quite a bit as well. So I'll continue to give the committee reports on that, as well as in the future, you'll hear more on one of our local efforts related to tourism and jobs. An update on the fabulous Fox River Trail, which is a multi-jurisdictional cooperation headed up by our team member, Karen Miller. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions, and we will look forward to working on relevant topics of interest to the committee in 2021.
Thank you so much, Mark. Really appreciate that. All right. I'm looking now for a motion to place the reports on file from today. And a second. Mr. Ford will move it. Can I have a seconder, please?
Lewis,
Molina,
second.
Lewis, thank you, Lewis.
Welcome.
Please do a roll call.
Davis. Iqbal.
Iqbal, yes.
Gopi. Lewis.
Lewis, yes.
Molina.
Molina, yes.
Ford.
Yes. Motion passes. We have no need for executive session today, so I am going to adjourn the meeting. Is everyone in favor of adjourning? If you are, say aye.
Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can I have a motion to go to adjourn?
So moved. Iqbal moves.
Thank you, Iqbal. Could I have a second?
Lewis, second.
Thank you, Lewis. All right. All those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
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 Those who do not want to adjourn, say nay. The ayes have it. This meeting is now adjourned. Thank you, everybody.